Howdy y'all, welcome back to Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Alright, you're not doing anything, so why don't you shut down? You're not doing anything, you're not doing anything. Why don't you shut down? Did that turn off? No. You don't want to listen to me. I'll tell you to do things, you should do them. So I've gotten my steel tools. Oh. You know what? I'm not done here, I guess. I need to unload my bits and pieces. But I did finish making all my steel tools that I could make. Obviously, they're all like little tier 1 guys because... what did I do? Oh, it's right there. Look, where did my machete go? So, I have made my... I don't know why the machete is a tier 1, but machete was only a tier 1. Everybody else is a tier 2. But I am ready to head out and do some more exploration. We'll try and hunt some things down here. I guess it's a sniper rifle. I don't have the recipe for. I was looking through while I was waiting for the timers to count down on my tools here. There's a sniper rifle I don't have. And of course I don't have the steel armor recipes, so I'd like to get my hands on those if possible. So we're going to be heading out here looking for, I don't know, different shops I can go in and check for recipes or supplies. I still like to get a silencer for my gun. You know, I probably could use some bullet materials as well. I need some lead. Although I can go mine lead, I guess. But I'm out of bullet tips. I've decided to upgrade to bigger bullets. You might have saw I had a tiny amount of them that I had made, but that's because I ran out of bullet tips. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Been reading, I don't know if I've talked in this series much about it, but I'd seen a trailer for Solo Leveling, new anime coming out sometime here in 2023. I don't know if it's soon. I hope it's soon. But for the first time ever, I read through the manga. I've never really read through a manga before. Like, I start them a lot, but I've never finished one. I say a lot. I don't start them a lot. I've started a few over the years. Let's put it that way. But this time, man, I really, really like this story. It's, I think I did talk about this a little bit somewhere about isekai. I'm really into isekai, which is people who get sucked into, like, a game world kind of thing. And so this one isn't exactly an isekai in that direction, but it's the world gets turned into a game world, basically. And so people, jeez, people get stats that make them slightly more powerful than the average human, and then they also get special abilities, and so they'll get, like, I don't know, spiral slash, right? And so they do that, and then they suddenly spin and do extra damage with a sword, kind of thing. And dungeons open up all over the place, and if you don't finish a dungeon within 7 days, then it will break open and spill all the monsters out into the real world. Actually, I can use that. And so, people with the not everyone got increased stats. There's still a lot of normal people, but the people who got increased stats are called hunters, and they come in different flavors. So they're ranked A through E, E being the weakest. Actually, S through E. Actually, that's not true either. There's a national hunter, which seems to be bigger than a S tier hunter, and then A, B, C, D, E. And so the main character, he's not just an E, he's a weak E. And so he also has a mother who gets this disease. It's not a disease. It's a kind of allergic reaction, I guess, to being around her son. Because now that he's a hunter, his body generates mana, and so some people get like mana sickness that makes them fall asleep and not be able to wake up, and so he has to pay for her hospital stay. And so he can't afford to buy weapons with his takings from the dungeons, and so he has to go in basically unarmed. And so in the first little bit of the story, the dungeon association who controls everything, the hunter association, I guess, require a certain number of people before you can go into a dungeon to try and keep the number of deaths down. And so he goes in with groups who don't have enough people, basically. And so that's what he does. And in one of the dungeons that he goes into, the end of the dungeon is a double dungeon, which is rare. But no one's ever seen it in such a low dungeon as the one they went into. And then the room they go into is actually like insta death if you don't do what it wants. And so instead of being a normal kill the monsters dungeon, it's kind of a trap dungeon. And but it's only one room. And so he figures out the trick to it, but nobody believes him. And so he loses his leg during part of the solving of the puzzles, and so then the healer uses all of her mana so that he doesn't die, and then it drains her body to the point where she can't move, and so they decide to leave, even though he says they need 6 people to complete the puzzle without anyone else dying. But he can't go because he's missing part of his leg, and so they leave him there for death. I don't know. For dead. It's definitely for dead. I don't know why I said for death. I'm glad I threw that cobblestone out and then I immediately picked it back up. And so he instead gets turned into the world's only player because he solved the puzzle. And so that's kind of the start of the story. And it was pretty good. I really liked it. I'm excited to see the anime. I hope the anime is more detailed than the manga. Like I said, I haven't really read through a manga before, but I found it to be a bit lacking in detail for, like, it's mostly fighting in dungeons. And so I found a lot of the dungeon fighting stuff to just be like, here's a few flashy pages. now the fight's over, right? And you can't really see what's going on very well. And it's actually not a manga, it's a Korean comic, and they've got their own name for that, but I don't know what it is. I see people write it down a couple times, but I didn't memorize the term, so whatever it is, I just called it manga because it's similar. It's not exact though. I guess it's a Korean comic. Let's call it that. And so, doggy, something over here is spitting out green, and I need to get rid of it. Oh, it's a cop. You should try shooting the zombies. I don't know if you are aware, but if you shoot the zombies, things work better. Instead of shooting everywhere but the zombies, that doesn't seem to work as well. So yeah, it was pretty good. He's afraid to let anybody know that he's got these powers because no one else in the world has them. And that's why it's called solo leveling, because he basically tries to take out all the dungeons that he goes into by himself. It gets much bigger than that, though. It's got a pretty crazy storyline as it gets going, that I thought was quite enjoyable. And eventually it, I guess spoilers, you find out that the whole thing is this fight between these two different groups of basically angels and demons, and not even demons though, like chaos creatures. It's angels called rulers and chaos creatures called monarchs. I hear you, dog, but I can't find you. Are you in here? Anybody see the treasure? I assume that's why I'm in here. And, nice. Lead trophies, need those. Don't need a leather poncho. Alright, so use up my lockpicks here. So, yeah, so eventually, you know, obviously he's the main character, so he gets caught up in that war. It was really strange because I had read before I started reading it that had a very controversial ending, and so I was expecting a terrible ending, right? Oh. But it had a pretty normal ending. I don't understand what the controversy was. Like, I just don't understand why it was considered controversial. And I wonder if they weren't using a hyperbolic word, because what they really meant was some of the fans didn't like the ending. Because to me, controversial would be like, I don't know, some kind of thing that, you know, you wouldn't ever expect to come from a comic. I can't think of what would be a controversial ending. He wakes up and it's all been a dream, right? Lost, right? The end of Lost, I would say, is controversial. Spoilers for Lost, I guess, if you don't know the ending of Lost, where it turns out that they were in purgatory the whole time. Right, that's a controversial ending because at no point in the show did they make it seem like any of that was really possible. And then the ending of the show is like, oh yeah, none of it was real. It was all just spirit stuff. And you're like, no, what? You just kind of ruined my show. That would be controversial, but I guess super spoilers. The um basically the angels were using a device to reset time, and it was getting to the point where it wouldn't work anymore, and so he asked them to use it one last time, and then returned back to grade school with the full knowledge and all of his abilities. And then before the time when the gates appeared, teleported himself into where all the monsters were waiting for the gates to open and fought them there by himself. Which, that's the controversy. That's the controversy. The main character in a comic called Solo Leveling decided to do it by himself. I just... I don't know why that was controversial. I thought it was a good ending. I don't know. What does this say down here? Junk. Oh, yeah. I'm not looking for junk. I'm looking for stores and less birds. Alright, I'm gonna hit this area over here, I guess. I thought there was an opening. And then we'll head on to another town. We played some Gloomhaven. The guys were off for a week, so I didn't get any playtime in on that kind of stuff while they were gone. Obviously, because it's a little hard to play your multiplayer game if you don't have the other people that you play it with. Apparently they're going to see a movie maybe tomorrow, so I don't know if we'll have any game time tomorrow. But hopefully everybody's there now that we're down to just us three to finish off Starfinder on Wednesday, so that'll be interesting. Got like one fight left. Shouldn't be too bad. I can't imagine. Didn't play any Horizon this weekend, but I did play some Moss Book 2 for a couple hours in my PlayStation VR. That was fun. I really like the Moss series, and I think they've got a version that's not VR, but man, it is so much fun to be in VR. It's a really fun story, and I was informed today by my niece that the animal that I was calling a ferret was in fact a stoat. She said, "I'm like, okay." So they switch characters partway through the game from a mouse to a stoat, and but now I've connected the mouse and the stoat together, and so the stoat gave up her special weapon, a chakram, to the mouse, and so now the mouse just has all the weapons. But then I got confused and lost a little bit, and after wandering as far away from where I was at as I possibly could, I didn't have it in me to wander back, and so I quit playing the game there. I'm not sure what happened. I was getting close to maybe the boss of the book. I don't know the book, the game. I'm not sure if the end of the game is in this one or if there's going to be a part three. I just don't know. I didn't look up. I didn't read. I don't know. I'm just playing the game. Uh, but in the first game, you have to you have to you play through the game and you fight this giant snake at the end of the first game, and so I'm almost to the giant bad guy for this game called the I don't know what he is, the Forge Master. I don't think that's his name, but and I got a hammer that I can use for the last puzzle things. It's not exactly as in depth as other games, but it's you know how like you play something like Metroid where you gotta get all the different weapons to unlock the different sections. So like there are spots where you can jump, but to do it you have to have this sword upgrade, right? And so I got the sword upgrade so I can do the dashes across the gaps, and um and I got the chakram, which lets me break these lamps that create magic fields around things so I can interact with them. And then the last part was the hammer. I need the hammer to be able to pound these floor triggers down to be able to get farther. And so I finally have access to that. And I don't know what happened, because then I didn't see anywhere else to go, and so I ended up all the way back at the beginning of the game, because you can wander back and forth between the different sections. And so I definitely have made a mistake. That's definitely not where I was supposed to go, because I can't find anything back at the beginning, and then I went into one of the other realms, and I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. Like, I'm just rehashing everything that I've done before. And so I'm kind of at the point where, like, as you're playing the game, you collect these scrolls, and if you get all the scrolls, then it fills in a stained glass window. And so I'm missing like one scroll here, two scrolls there, and so I kind of thought that maybe now that I have the tools, that maybe I can get in there and you know, finish getting the scrolls. But I also am not sure how I missed out on killing the guy, because that's my objective. There's also these doors that you have to have a certain amount of dust to open, and like little magic dust stuff, and I couldn't get one of the doors to open, and so I thought maybe it was something I would do later, and so I was trying to figure out how to open that. But now I think it was just I needed to collect more dust. So I've got to go around the map looking for these scrolls and collecting dust until I have enough dust to open that last mouse door. The mouse doors give you cosmetic upgrades, I think. I'm not sure the armor actually does anything. I think it's just cosmetics. And so I've got like 2 different kinds of armor now. I know there's one more door that was like really... I could get it 3/4 of the way completed. So I definitely need more dust to unlock it. But yeah, no, it's a pretty fun game, and that was my VR experience this weekend. Been playing a lot of Chimera Squad. That's the third part to XCOM. It's kind of a side story thing, and it doesn't quite play like XCOM. I don't think it's as fun. It's not terrible, but it's not as good as the XCOM games. It's definitely not as infuriating as XCOM 2. Because let me tell you, XCOM 2 was sitting me off. I was getting pretty angry at that one. I don't understand how you miss 94% shots. Like, I get it, right? There's a 6% chance to miss. But that should be like the rarest thing. And then I'm like making all of the 75% chance or the 30% chance on some characters. I'm just like, I don't understand how I'm making the 33% chance to hit this guy at the other end of the room with your shotgun, but I'm missing the 98% chance from a sniper rifle. What is that nonsense? I also loaded up Phoenix Point, which is another turn-based fight the aliens game. I'm not sure I like that one as much. I feel like it it's bizarrely like this open world game. Okay, if you never played XCOM, XCOM is basically you control a squad of military units and they're fighting aliens. And so what happens is you play the game a little bit, you set up your research, and then you research, new weapons and armor and stuff for your soldiers. And your soldiers go out and they fight alien attacks. But they're like tiny missions because you go in with like 6 troopers, right? And so
I'm kinda busy.
so um you're just fighting all these aliens for different missions. I got confused at one point and probably fought a dozen more missions than I needed to, but I was waiting for a bad guy to show up, and it turned out that I had to make the bad guy show up. But I missed where it told me to do that, and so I was just waiting for him to show up. And I thought, because it was like defeat the Avatar Project, right? And so that's this thing that's been there the whole game, just filling up as I play the game. And so I'm just like, all right, maybe if I take out all these bases, then the Avatar Project, right, will finally appear, and I can finish off whatever it is I got to do with that. And yeah, no, I had to stab a guy with a special device that I wasn't taking with my soldiers. I had to, let me rephrase that. I had to stab a guy with a special. No, let me try one more time. I had to stab a specific type of unit with a device that I wasn't taking with my soldiers. And so it wasn't appearing because I didn't realize I had to, make him appear. And so, unfortunately, I did a whole bunch of missions waiting for him to appear, and he never appeared, and I couldn't figure out why he wasn't appearing. And so, ooh, those are expensive. So, when I finally clicked on the quest to try and figure out what was going wrong, I'm like, oh, I gotcha. I'm an idiot. Uh, it was over pretty quickly after that. And so then I loaded up Chimera Squad. Chimera Squad is smaller missions, and you don't really make a lot of choices. And the research is different. So, this is what it is. In XCOM and XCOM 2, you go to the geoscape, and in the geoscape, you tell time to advance forward, and then missions will pop up, and then you can do the missions. Actually, in XCOM, you do a lot of shooting down UFOs with your aircraft, but they took that out for XCOM 2 for some reason. And but so time advances like that, and then in Chimera Squad, time advances by you doing a mission, and then a second mission where you don't actually do anything. It's just like a go patrol the streets, and then it just says your guys did it, and then that's a day. And so I don't know. I think I like the geoscape thing better. I like the countdown to getting closer to having the research done, kind of thing. And so there's not a lot of research happening necessarily. Um, and you know, it'd be nice if I could get more I don't know, better weapons faster or something. I miss the bringing in alien weaponry and researching it into things. I guess I don't know. But you play a police force in that one. So the breach mechanics are all right. I feel like they could have been a little more interactive. Um, I think there should have been like a body scanner, and then you could pick where you wanted to breach to get the best effects. Instead, it just usually offers you one or two different places you can breach, which just means sending your troops in to fight the aliens. But it's all right. Hopefully, there's an XCOM 3 that goes back to the older style, because Chimera Squad is okay, but it's not as good as XCOM. Honestly, of the three games, I think the first one is the best. XCOM 2, okay, XCOM 2, I played War of the Chosen, which is a DLC, and it was crazy intense the entire game. Um, and apparently the regular version of it, which I haven't played in years, is much easier. But War of the Chosen is like super intense. But by the end, my guys were so powerful that I wasn't really worried about things. I got to the point where I could take a few shots from the aliens without it really hurting my guys. And I don't know. I don't think the end battle is as intense in that one as the battle in XCOM. In XCOM, you gotta fight your way across this massive ship, keeping your soldiers up, and then when you get to the end, you gotta face off against these three psychic type monsters that can take control of your guys or stun them or anything like that. Whereas XCOM 2, you're fighting your way through a base and they just keep teleporting in different bad guys. And it's not as intense because you have plenty of time to wipe out the bad guys, and then the actual bad guy appears and he was pretty easy to take down. And I was like, oh well, I mean, I think I'd have liked a little more oomph to the people attacking me. But I don't know, I like the XCOM games. The Phoenix Point is similar to XCOM 2 in that you have time running, but I feel less connected to my base in that one. And so you're basically flying around on these planes, and you do have a base, but I don't go back to it between missions. I just go on to the next place to check out. And so it doesn't feel like a war so much. And so I would like it better if it were better established front lines, maybe, and like there was more of a storyline directing me than just whether or not you happen to go to this spot to look at the thing, right? Because you fly to a question mark on the map and then you explore it, and then it could just be supplies, it could be a mission, who knows. But I know that you can lose the game pretty fast if you don't get specific technologies, and I've got the technology I need. Currently researching to build the mist repellers, which I guess lets you save part of your land from the crab people that are attacking. That's I think it's from the moon. I think is what they said. A virus, anyways, winds up affecting crab people. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't beaten the game. I haven't played very far into it, but oh, an Atomic Heart. That's the other one. I was trying to think. I knew there was something else I was playing. Atomic Heart's been okay so far. The storyline could use a little work. It's, and I'm not a big fan of the combat. I think the combat's a little too tough. The problem is your guy is not agile enough for the type of boss fights that happen, and so I'm expected to dodge all of this incoming damage, which would be fine if I was like a really on the ball, you know, Souls player or something, where I was like, yes, the perfect timing for the dodge, but I'm not, and so it can take me a while to get through a boss battle, and they're overwhelming numbers with guys all around you, all like attacking you at the same time kind of fights, and not like, you know, dodge this thing and hit the specific spot. And so it would be nice if it was a little more, I don't know, if your guy's a little more fluid than he is. Maybe even better now, I don't know. I got him a second dodge charge, so maybe that'll make it better for me. I hate how hard it is to get ammo. I really don't want to play the game melee. I wish I could just get bullets for my guns. That would be great. But, you know, it's one of those games where there's very limited supplies, and unfortunately bullets seem to be the thing that I can't keep up. It doesn't help I'm fighting robots, right? They take a lot of bullets to put down sometimes. Alright, well, with that, I think I'm going to call it a day. So be better than small things. Lead into the light. Whoop. And I will talk to you later.